Mr. Speaker, it's Christmas time and Santa's elves are making sure that they have all the toys for all the girls and boys. But the Wildrose has real concerns about the impact the NDP policies are having on toy production and the elf labour market. According to legitimate statistics from the Fraser Institute, a $15 minimum wage will have a huge bar for young elves entering the toy production labour market and could result in the layoffs of hundreds of elves. The NDP plan to unionize Santa's workshop will devastate toy production levels as seniority is rewarded over merit. Will the Premier tell the House why they're willing to accept less toys for the girls and boys at Christmas?
Thank you very much, Mr.
Finance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You know, the official opposition seems to think with regard to the elves, or we call them workers for government, or we call them the civil service, that we can break employment contracts, that it's okay to do that. Well, that's not the way we roll on this side. You may want to do that, but we're not going to break employment contracts. We're going to support workers so that they can do the best job for this government as possible, whether it's in human services or any other ministry. You break contracts, we don't.
The subject matter has changed, but the volume is still there, folks. First supplemental.
Well, Merry Christmas from NMAX, Mr. Speaker. For nearly 2,000 years, Santa has responsibly used coal, but the NDP are demanding the phase-out of this reliable and cheap source of energy. Without coal, Santa will not have anything to give the naughty children except for billions of dollars of government debt, amounting to $23,000 for every boy and girl, naughty or nice. If the oil sands emission cap was applied to Santa, he would have to begin scaling back toy production right now. Seeing as how it's nighttime half the year in the North Pole, solar panels won't do. Does the Grinch understand the devastating impact this will have on toy production?
Mr. Speaker, what the opposition doesn't understand is that we don't curtail the use of coal and the emissions of CO2, the North Pole is going to melt. And, Mr. Speaker, what will happen to toy production then?
The honourable member for Grinch. I would just like to thank you for allowing me to enjoy this. Am I on second supplemental?
Well, Santa will just have to move to Alberta, Mr. Speaker. According to Ethical Ocean, Santa's reindeer will emit 54,000 metric tons of greenhouse gases. Milk and cookies, 9,000 tons. Lumps of coal, 230,000. Wrapping paper, 290,000. His workshop, 983,000. And toy production, 68 million. All adding up to a total Christmas carbon footprint of 70 million metric tons. The carbon tax, or since it's Christmas, levy, will cost Santa $3.5 billion. Does the Premier understand that if their carbon tax was applied to Santa, there would be no Christmas?
Ask the member opposite if in all his facts and figures and numbers, and there's so many facts and figures there, so scientific. Let me just ask if he factored in the cost of Santa's workshop occurring on an ocean liner in return for the ice cap that it is no longer sitting on because we failed to take action because we don't believe that climate change is real. Mr. Speaker,
yes,
Santa is very glad that we are saving him and Christmas and toys, Mr. Speaker.
And I do hope the Honourable Premier recognized the contribution of Mrs. Claus as well. The Honourable Member for Vermilion Lloydminster.